Good afternoon. Calling to order the regular board meeting of the URA Board of Directors for today, Thursday, October 10th, 2024. Like the record reflect that all board members are present. Four of us here in person with Council President Lavelle joining us remotely. Our first order of business is approval of the September 12th, 2024 UI regular board meeting minutes. I will entertain a motion to approve. Second. All those in favor? Aye. Whoops, sorry. Any opposed or abstentions? Then the motion carries. I do want to also note that the URA board met in executive session on October 4th, right before our board meeting today on October 10th, and after our board meeting last month on, September 12th. The purpose of the briefing the executive session on the 4th was for briefing for today's meeting and was for informational purposes only. Moving on the agenda, our next item is public comment.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. We received 4 written comments, 2 people registered to provide virtual comments, and 1 person registered to provide in-person comments. We will start with our in-person registrants if they are here, and then move on to virtual commenters. You will have 3 minutes. I'll start a timer. Any written comments received have been provided to the Board of Directors and will be included in the minutes of today's meeting, which will be publicly available for viewing on the website. The first in-person public comment is from Chris Hollingsheed. Chris, are you here with us? Oh, come up. Please state your name and I will start the 3-minute timer.
Chris Hollingshead. Hi. I live in Lawrenceville. I'm a Pittsburgher, and I have been developing property in Lawrenceville for decades. I've lived in Lawrenceville for 42 years. I am here to comment on the 62nd Street parcel of land. And it's not something I would normally be interested in, except that in March, we lost the wheel mill. And the wheel mill was a treasure in the city of Pittsburgh. It was an indoor bike park. My son was very active there. Mike was the general manager of the wheel mill for 10 years, and he's come with me. And we missed the RFP for this property, unfortunately. That closed in February, and the announcement of the mill's closure was in March. The wheel mill was a victim of COVID and, cash flow problems associated with COVID. All right, so there is a group of about 10 of us that are actively seeking a place to locate another wheel mill. The ramps and interior fixtures from the old wheel milling were lovingly stored throughout the city of Pittsburgh. All we need is a building. It has proven to be rather difficult to find a building. We do have funding, and what we need is a big warehouse space. As you know, the site at 62nd Street is perfect for this and the perfect location. So we simply wanted the board to know of this alternative. Clearly, we missed the RFP and don't have a formal proposal for you at this moment, but we could generate one quickly. The idea would be a large warehouse building. That's the kind of building that these facilities are located in. There is one in Cleveland called Raise. There is one in Toronto called Joyride 150. They're very successful and sources of diversion for families and kids. My son went to the wheel mill every day after school to ride. He is a junior at Carnegie Mellon now and is actively involved in the sport. This is skaters and BMX bikers and scooters. Basically, it's wheeled sports. The idea, like I said, would be a large building, probably covered in solar panels. We would have a parking lot, and that parking lot would provide fast charging, level 3 fast charging for electric cars. That is something, living in Lawrenceville, I can tell you, I own 2 electric cars. As we move to electric cars, it's going to be pretty difficult to have extension cords all over the sidewalks. Most people in Lawrenceville do not have garages. It's a traditional row house environment. So my time is up. I hope I've given you something to think about.
Thank you. Our next registered speaker is virtual, and that's Justin Cummings. Justin, are you on?
Yes, can you hear me?
Oh, great. Okay. Yes, we can hear you. I'll start the timer whenever you begin.
Fantastic. I just want to piggyback on what Chris said. I am a part of one of the many people working to bring the wheel mill, or a business very much like the wheel mill, back to life. We would like to stay in the city of Pittsburgh. We've been exploring all over the county, and the 62nd Street site would be pretty amazing for it because it is centrally located, but it would also allow for us to have outdoor features and like areas for people to ride bikes outside as well as indoor. We reached out to the URA, I believe it was late March or early April, inquiring about this, but we knew that we had missed the deadline for the RFP, and the we were kind of told to wait because it was already allocated and spoken for. And then we were told to talk to the developer who had received the RFP, and maybe he would subdivide it and sell us off part of it. So we kind of lost interest. But recently we understand that it may be a possibility for us to acquire this from the URA, and we are interested in that. I think that's pretty much all I have to say. I think Mike Patazzi, when he speaks, he can speak a little more about the business model and what we will be doing.
Okay. Thank you, Justin. Was that everything?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Our next registered public speaker is Mary Hatch. I believe Mary is on Zoom.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. I'll start the timer whenever you begin.
All right. Good afternoon, members of the URA Board and others present. My name is Mary Hatch. We're here today to discuss the Troy Hill Firehouse project. For full disclosure, my husband, Peter Bruckner, who's sitting here next to me, and I also submitted a response to the RFP for this property with us as the intended users and tenants of the building back during the original RFP period nearly 3 years ago. At the time, the neighborhood group did not select us because they were extremely excited about the idea of a fresh food grocer in the neighborhood, as we would be as well, since we live just a few blocks away on Mount Troy Road. We appreciate the efforts QGE Holdings has put forth in the past 3 years with trying to find a suitable tenant to meet this use, and appreciate that they have been working with the Troy Hill Citizens Group the whole time. With all that said, today you're set to vote on the sale of the building to QBE, with the promised tenant no longer including the fresh food component that people were excited for. In fact, the building will have a use that the community will be very unlikely to have any access to. Also, the sale price of the building has been reduced by more than half. Additionally, in the intervening time, after Preservation Pittsburgh nominated the building with the city, its status was granted as a historic landmark. Paperwork has also been submitted with the state to validate the eligibility of this building to be listed on the National Register of Historic Places. We have one request for the URA board and for the community as a whole. We are asking for the URA to consider reopening the Troy Hill Firehouse to development proposals outside the exclusive negotiations with QGE. While we expect and hope that other developers would also submit proposals for the property, my husband and I would be willing to commit to submit an amended proposal for the firehouse within 14 days of today, if the URA would consider it, with uses that more closely match the original RFP, have deep commitment to architectural preservation and restoration of the interior and exterior of the building, and would be self-funded with us as the tenants, meaning a very fast process for this building to be activated and in use. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Do we have any other people interested in providing public comment in person or on Zoom? No? Okay. The other comments were written and have been provided to the board members. That concludes public comment.
Thank you, Director. Our next, or now we're moving into announcements, I'm sorry. Our first announcement is a well-deserved congratulations, and I'm turning it back over to our Executive Director.
Thank you. I am thrilled that our own Alicia Majors was honored with the prestigious Legacy Award at the Black Excellence in Real Estate Gala a few weeks ago. We are up there looking good. Alicia in the front. Alicia has served at the URA for over 42 years. And as many of you know, she was recently promoted to URA's Assistant Director of Housing Support. Through Own PGH alone, Alicia and the team have helped over 150 home buyers purchase homes in the city. And that just really scratches the surface of her work over the 42 years. Alicia, thank you for your outstanding service and leadership. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's great. If there's any questions or comments from board members on this. If not, she's not here. Hopefully she's listening, but Alicia, I just wanted to say congratulations both on the well earned recognition and award, but also promotion to assistant director. I said it privately, I'll say it publicly. You made share with me, you made a conscious decision to stay at the authority to help, share all of the knowledge, experience, wisdom, that you've gained over those 42 years with the URA, with our younger staff who's coming up. And it's so important to be able to share that institutional knowledge that way, that you engage so authentically with our customers and all of the programs that you help to lead. And so excited to have you in that formal leadership role that you've been informally playing for so many years. So, kudos, congratulations, and thank you. Our next announcement is for Invest PGH, and I will turn it back over to our executive director.
Thank you. I am presenting this on behalf of Rebecca Davidson Wagner, president of Invest PGH, which is a CDFI under the URA umbrella as an affiliate. Invest PGH is incredibly proud to announce that they have been awarded $519,000 by the CDFI at the U.S. Treasury. This award will help Invest PGH capitalize their startup and mini advancement loan program, which offers small business access to funding with a fixed interest rate of just 3%. This will enable us to continue providing crucial financial services to local entrepreneurs who drive Pittsburgh's economy, particularly among those whom traditional financing options are out of reach. I want to thank the Invest PGH staff, professionals, Rebecca Davidson Wagner, Brooke M., and the CDFI Fund for the recognition of Invest PGH work in revitalizing distressed communities and supporting small businesses throughout Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's great. Congratulations to the team. I always appreciate how creative they are in seeking, additional funding, and the CDFI designation was so important years ago to get, and this shows why. So thank you for that. And then I know we wanted to do a walk-on announcement related to the low-income housing tax credit pre-app. So I'll turn it over to Chief Wassler.
Thank you, Chairman. Today, the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency moved their low-income housing tax credit application due date from a December due date to now be due on February 11th of 2025. In an effort to be coordinated with our partner LIHTC agency at the state, the URA will be extending our pre-application deadline for our low-income housing tax credit projects in the city of Pittsburgh. We will be in touch in the future with that exact extension date. We want to make sure we meet all of our approval requirements. And so we'll be in touch either at the next board meeting and via our social media outlets to give our development partners what that exact date will be. But
Great, thank you. Moving into our agenda for action. The first item here is on the Central Business District related to 200 Ross Street. And Brandon Wilson is joining us for this one.
Good afternoon, URA Board. My name is Brandon Wilson, and I am a project manager in the URA's Development Services Department. Today I am requesting authorization to approve the redevelopment proposal and form of contract for the sale of 200 Ross Street, located in the Central Business District of Pittsburgh, to Action Housing, Inc., or a related entity for $3,975,000 plus costs. Next slide, please. The building was constructed as the headquarters of the Jones and Laughlin Steel Company in 1908 and converted to public use from 1948 to 1952. It was most recently offices for the Urban Redevelopment Authority of Pittsburgh, the City of Pittsburgh, and the Housing Authority of the City of Pittsburgh, and it is a designated historic structure in downtown Pittsburgh. At the February 8th, 2024 board meeting, the URA announced that Action Housing was selected as the redeveloper for these historic office spaces and conversion into housing, following a limited RFQ process. Action Housing was invited to submit a full proposal following that selection. In the reference proposal, Action proposed 68 affordable units of housing, 3 floors of affordable nonprofit and commercial space, and community space utilizing the 13th floor. The project will feature a mix of units targeting 50 to 80% area median income families. And Action Housing intends to utilize low-income housing tax credits, historic tax credits, and the City of Pittsburgh's downtown conversion program, among other sources, for the project. If the board accepts this proposal package, the project will once again come in front of the board for approval of final drawings, evidence of financing, and authorization to execute the deed prior to sale. Following the acceptance of this proposal package, the URA will be purchasing the Housing Authority's share, and the URA has a cooperation agreement with the city as part of the conveyance process to Action Housing. I thank you, board members, and I am available to answer any questions.
Thanks, Brandon. Lena, I know you're here too. I don't know if you have anything you want to add to Brandon's presentation. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. How exciting is this? We're taking another steps towards the renovation of 200 Ross Street, a building that launched many of our careers and has played a storied role in the history of the city of Pittsburgh. I started my career in local government in this building, as did our fearless leader here, Sushila, on the 4th floor. And I felt the gravity and the history of that building every day when I went to work there. And I also felt the need for investment in it because the elevator was often broken. I only got stuck in it once. The heating and cooling didn't work, and the aesthetics left a lot to be desired. And I was in the basement once, and it was upsetting. Yes. So if this is approved today, our next step forward will be to submit a low-income housing tax credit application, which I'm very sort of happy to hear is delayed, which will provide financial support to the residential component of the project and will continue to do other fundraising to help make this a reality. Action was founded in 1957, and while we're not as old as 200 Ross Street, I do think we have the history and the right amount of history to take this on. So I want to thank the URA board and the staff and Mayor Gainey and County Executive Sarah Innamorato for their leadership, not just because of the work on 200 Ross Street, but the leadership and vision in spearheading the revitalization of the downtown core. You guys have really raised a lot of resources for projects like this, and these adaptive reuse projects, as you can see, and you know, are really hard. And our local government has really been creative and persistent in raising the funding needed for projects just like this. So we're honored to have been selected as the developer to take this on, and we can't wait to take the next step. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you both. Questions, comments from board members? Or about the heating system at 200 Ross Street? I mean, I can remember having to balance a rock on the regulator for the radiator in order to make sure the heat was on. So, yeah. And I mean, I think you both said it well in terms of the importance here and the excitement to see this move to the next stage on exclusive negotiations. We took votes last month, you know, related to downtown conversions, to see another one before us this month. I think, you know, Lena, to everything that you said just underscores not only the importance of continuing to reimagine what the future downtown can be, but the actions that we're taking to drive that forward, into really turning it, into that neighborhood that we all, want to see for downtown's future. So thank you for sticking with the project, and doing it in a way that's thoughtful and respectful, not just to the building that's there, but the tenants that'll, be within it and that you'll all support. So if there's no other questions or comments from board members, we'll entertain a motion to approve. We have a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? And the motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is in Upper Lawrenceville. It's the 62nd Street site, and joining us for that is Lily Friedman.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lily Friedman, and I'm the Manager of Development Projects in the URA's Development Services Department. Today, I'm excited to return to the board to share progress on the 62nd Street site in the Upper Lawrenceville neighborhood of the city of Pittsburgh, a 14.2-acre brownfield property which the URA has owned and maintained since 2008. Today, we request an authorization to enter into exclusive negotiations with Golden East investors for a period of 6 months. Next slide, please. As you may remember, the URA issued a request for proposals for the site back in November of 2023. By the May 2024 board meeting, the URA had announced our plans to issue a hold from market with Golden East investors to allow the developer and the URA the opportunity to engage in good faith discussions with particular attention to community benefits considerations and continued due diligence toward a potential redevelopment proposal. Since then, Golden East Investors has adjusted their site plans to accommodate community feedback, as you can view on the right side of the slide. Golden East Investors' concept currently includes the brownfields remediation and the redevelopment of the site into 2 separate high bay structures with a goal of leasing a combined total of 169,700 square feet to tenants seeking a mix of warehouse, office, and/or light industrial flex space. Please note 11,700 square feet of the eastern structure listed in the plans and 15,300 square feet of public park space is planned to be dedicated to a community desired use. Additional planned development deliverables include approximately $20 million in investment, approximately 68 construction jobs and 175 permanent jobs, and 215 parking spaces. We're looking forward to continue work with Lawrenceville United and Lawrenceville Corporation during this exclusive negotiations period to consider, in collaboration, how the development can best incorporate neighborhood visioning for the site. We're grateful for all the community partners that have worked with us to get to this point, for their efforts in ensuring this project can meet the city's economic development goals while also aligning with community development priorities. The board would have the opportunity to vote on this project at 2 future board meetings prior to a property sale, including the opportunity to accept a full redevelopment proposal. Jake Mancher should be on the line here today, as he had planned to join us virtually from the Golden East Investors Development Team to share a few remarks. After those remarks, we would be happy to consider questions or comments from the board. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. This is Jake Mancher. Thank you, Lily, for everything and for your help. We're very excited to be working with the URA and with Lawrenceville, the community, and LU and LC and Dave and Sarah's team on this project. As Lily mentioned, we've been talking to Tree Pittsburgh and the community at large to try to incorporate as many of the community's desires and needs into the site. And hopefully, we're not only going to be addressing the community's desires, but in general, like the business desires that and needs of the community needs with all the development that's going on in Western Lawrenceville. We hope that this site will keep jobs in Lawrenceville and help the community be a diverse community, not only a bedroom community where businesses continue to thrive and grow in Lawrenceville. So looking forward to continuing to work with the team and with the community to develop what would hopefully be a very successful site for everyone.
Thanks, Jake. Thanks, Lily. Questions, comments from board members? Representative Powell.
I just wanted to particularly thank you, Lily, for all the work that you and your team have done. As said, the URA has owned this for over 10 years. So as you all can imagine, there have been a lot of ideas from the community on what this could be. And I appreciate Lily, the URA, LU, LC in particular, for trying to center community voice in this. We're still exactly trying to figure out what will happen next, but truly appreciate all the work that's led us to this point. So thank you.
Anyway, I know there was a number of comments, in public comment and in written as well, related to Wheel Mill and then the Resource Council. I guess, Jake, maybe this one's for you, or Lily can certainly speak to it, but I know it's early days, right, in terms of the development of what's going to happen there. To underscore Representative Powell's comments, that the group has shown a willingness to sort of sit down and work through what the community wants to see here. I guess, just given that it's early days, are you all able to have more than just maybe that initial sort of outreach or touch point, but conversations with those groups just around what opportunities there may be for partnership? Okay.
Lily, do you want to take that, or should I take that? I don't mind taking that if you like.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I can start. So yeah, I just want to be clear that exclusive negotiations, means that we plan to negotiate exclusively with Golden East investors. That being said, there's still, time to partner on the site and or consider, I think what, Jake and I have talked about is extremely interesting moving forward into the next phases is, partners who are interested in leasing the site. So in the next phases, we're going to want to see letters of intent, from folks who want to engage and potentially take one of these high base spaces, right? And so I think we're really excited to have conversations with folks who are interested in leasing the space moving forward would be our top priority.
Okay.
Yeah, and to Lily's point, we have, and to your point, we have been speaking to the community, and I think we are very much in the early stages of this, and defining what the site is going to be very much depends on the community's needs and more input from them. So I would imagine, additional revisions and additional sit downs with everybody in order to come up with a final plan before the next step going forward.
Great, thank you.
I was just reflecting on the fact that I think I've been on this board for 6 years, and this was one of the first projects I was ever briefed on when I joined in 2018. And one of the first sites I toured when I first joined the board in 2018. And at that point, it had already been under URA ownership for a decade. So, and through, I don't know how many rounds, unsuccessful rounds of RFPs and RFQs, I know we've had at least 2 or 3 in the 6 years since then. So it feels incredibly important to maintain the momentum that we finally have going at this site, and certainly a good idea to engage in whatever conversations we can have with other interested partners, Wheel Mill or anyone else. I also would imagine that there are probably warehouse sites that URA might be able to help connect them with in other parts of the city. But yeah, this is great to see finally moving forward with some amount of momentum and energy. So thanks for your work on it.
Yeah. Thanks, Director. Yeah, I was going to go to a similar place in terms of how long a slog this has been. So Lily, thank you for, your work to get us to this point. I think, at least what's been sort of relayed and shared to me, and, Jake, you and your team and Lily, what you've helped to facilitate, have been efforts working in good faith towards that, and engaging in the conversation. So I would, just encourage that to continue. And I have no reason to believe it wouldn't. I just want to make sure to say that sort of out loud, with those folks who've come that could be, immediate tenants in hand. I have to believe that's appealing to a developer for multiple reasons. But, obviously could also even help to accelerate, to this point and keep that momentum going. So would encourage those conversations to continue, and just to make sure that as we're engaging in those conversations, that we're keeping our partners in the community, abreast of those, as we go along. And so that everyone's kind of on the same page as things progress. So, appreciate the work that's been done, the good faith ways in which everyone's worked together on this. And just want to say thank you again, Lily, you and your team, for all the work you've done to navigate it and get us to this point, because it has been well over 10 years. And the unfortunate reality of that is, there are deadlines, which the state has been incredibly patient with us on, related to, commitments we made to them in grant dollars that we received. And we need to continue to show that progress going forward. Or there's some risk there. So if there's no other questions or comments from board members, we'll entertain a motion to approve. We have a second. A second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? And the motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item on the agenda is in Homewood, North Homewood Avenue, and Gordon Hall is joining us for this.
Good afternoon, board. My name is Gordon Hall, and I'm a project manager with the Development Services Department. I am requesting authorization to enter into an agreement with Minifield Demolition Services for demolition and remediation work along North Homewood Avenue's Business District Corridor for amount of up to $817,000 and $817,064. The URA will contract with Minifield Demolition Services for site remediation work on 13 vacant parcels along the North Homewood Avenue Business District Corridor. 6 of these parcels contain structures that will be demolished due to their unsafe conditions. All parcels and structures in this project are publicly owned, either by the City of Pittsburgh or by the URA. The scope of work being presented today is part of a larger effort along North Homewood Avenue. In January of 2024, the URA secured $2 million in ARPA funds for the North Homewood Avenue Business District Corridor. The URA is spending these funds to conduct pre-development activities on 35 publicly owned parcels on a 4-block stretch between Susquehanna Street and Frankstown Avenue. The purpose of this ARPA-funded work is to remediate blighted, publicly owned properties along the business district. The goal of this work is to create future development opportunities by providing the Homewood neighborhood with clean, development-ready sites assembled for future projects. Lastly, I want to thank my colleagues in the QC&I and legal departments. Their technical expertise and guidance have been crucial to moving this effort forward. With that, I will pause for any questions and comments.
Thank you, Gordon. That was a really good photo of North Homewood Avenue. I just want to point out that bank is not part of the demolition. that will be preserved, and it's beautifully maintained by PNC. Just wanted to point that out.
Thanks, Sheila.
Thank you, Director. Any questions or comments from board members? I know in terms of our action, it's pretty straightforward. And we've seen obviously the announcement with the RFP that went out, on this once before. Want to thank, Gordon for your work on this and the team and our executive director in terms of being thoughtful about how to approach this in getting sites ready along North Homewood Avenue. I think as we think about this, as we think about, the low-income housing tax credit project at Homewood Gateway that's getting ready to hopefully break ground in the next several months. There's a tremendous opportunity, to bring all of these opportunities, online, to really begin to rebuild, that business district, in partnership with the community and help to facilitate, that vision that they've articulated, through their community plan for what the future of North Homewood could be in the Homewood community more broadly. So this is a first step. It's an important one though. So thank you for that. There's no other questions or comments from board members. We'll entertain a motion to approve. Move a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? And the motion carries. And then next on the agenda is the Troy Hill Firehouse, and Gordon, don't go anywhere because this is you too.
Good afternoon again. Today I'm requesting authorization to approve both an amended redevelopment proposal and to enter into a disposition contract with QGE Holdings LLC for their adaptive reuse of the historic Troy Hill Firehouse. QGE Holdings is the real estate development arm of a local Troy Hill-based architectural firm, Wildman and Chalmers Design, whose offices are located just 2 blocks away from the Troy Hill Firehouse in the 1600 block of Lowry Street. The firehouse will be redeveloped into a commercial office space for a bioengineering firm, BioInterface. Due to the historic nature of the building, all renovations will be sensitive to restoring the firehouse to its original condition. The total development costs are estimated at $410,000, which includes the proposed acquisition cost of $150,000. This proposal is an amended version from the original one that was accepted at the April 2023 board meeting, which included a fresh food market, a cafe, and a small tap house from a local brewery. A few months after the board meeting, the prospective tenants dropped out of the project due to feasibility concerns. For the next year, the development team advertised the space to food-based businesses to fulfill a similar use approved in their proposal package. After a year of struggling to attract serious interest, the development team approached the community about marketing the space for general commercial uses in hopes that it would attract more prospective businesses. The development team met with the Troy Hill Citizens Board members in May of this year before presenting at the public community meeting the following month. At the meeting, the community was open to considering different uses for the firehouse, under the condition that the development team would approach the community again before moving forward with another tenant and use, and before approaching the next URA board action. The development team then expanded the uses for their space in their marketing efforts, which attracted the interest from BioInterface, the prospective tenant here today. BioInterface is a bioengineering firm looking to expand from their current location in Etna. The development team introduced the prospective tenant and use to the larger Troy Hill community at the August 2024 public meeting. The prevailing sentiment was favorable towards the new proposed tenant and use. Shortly after the public meeting in August, the URA received a formal letter of support from the Troy Hill Citizens Group. Chad Chalmers, the developer, is here today to provide any comments. After that, the two of us can field any questions from the board.
Good afternoon. My name is Chad Chalmers. I am one of the proprietors of Wildman Chalmers Design, a 22-person architecture firm in the city of Pittsburgh and Troy Hill, 2 blocks away from the firehouse. We specialize in restaurants, grocery stores, and historic work as part of our agenda. So we're very familiar with the process. We moved into this endeavor hoping that we wanted a grocery store. No offense here, because my staff wants a place to eat. We wanted to market, and we tried very hard, completing over 50 restaurants in the city of Pittsburgh as the design architect. We reached out to everyone. We put out extensive advertising on CoStar, which is a real estate development advertisement, and we spend to put that up to the top so that when it came up for a listing. So after that, all being said, we spoke with Gordon, and we were really wanted the project. We really wanted to redevelop it. We've redeveloped 4 buildings in Troy Hill to date over the last since 2016, some of which have had plywood over the doors and everything else like that, created apartments as well as commercial spaces in respect of the commercial space. So I'm here today to ask for, well, Gordon's going to ask for that, but for your approval. And I'm here to field any questions, as well as we have Noah Snyder, the tenant for Biophase as well.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Noah Snyder. I'm the founder and CEO of BioInterface. So as you heard, we're a bioengineering company, so maybe not what I guess was originally expected, which is kind of my history in general. So we're an engineering company that spun out of the University of Pittsburgh. We've been around for 9 years. I went to Pitt after graduating from Allegheny College with degrees in biochemistry and neuroscience. Came down to Pitt, got my PhD in bioengineering, where we were developing advanced materials for brain-machine interface technologies. So looking to develop solutions for people that were paralyzed or lost a limb. I was really passionate about creating a technology and a company that could make a positive impact in the world. So we spun out biointerface at the time and have received multiple contracts from the federal government, including the Department of Defense, as well as the Department of Energy. Our mission is really about restoring biological needs. So giving people clean water, clean air, the ability to walk. And so we look to develop new solutions and technologies that can really help people. And so we're really excited about this opportunity because it also allows us to continue to work with the entrepreneurial ecosystem in the region. So one of our supporters for moving to Troy Hill is the Pittsburgh Technology Council, where we look to hope to bring other entrepreneurs and startups to the Troy Hill space. And so while we're not a food provider, we're looking to maybe bring something a little bit different. And that is kind of our connection to the STEM ecosystem. I think something that's just really, maybe the universe talking to you is that just last week, we won a contract from the Army to develop advanced materials to improve fire safety. So for protection for firefighters. So I think our vision is to continue to develop new solutions and, help, while we're not firefighters, maybe help to achieve one of our missions, which is to help those that choose to serve others. And so I guess a little story, when we did meet with the Troy Hill Community Group, somebody came up and told us that it was haunted, but don't worry, the firefighter that's haunting it is there to protect folks. And so I'm hoping if we do get the opportunity to move in there, they'll at least appreciate the fact that we're trying to help as well. So like I said, we're a company that likes to develop new solutions, but it's really about a positive impact. And we really want to be part of the community from conservation efforts, things of that nature. We've done fun projects where we've worked with the Pittsburgh Zoo and Aquarium to looking at acoustic monitoring into knowing if the habitats are actually getting too much noise. And also, I think part of our whole process for moving there is to have a community engagement appeal. So not only bringing tech companies and startups and things like that into an area that maybe is less represented, but also finding ways that we can do outreach. So working with the schools. In the past, while I was a grad student, we actually did projects where we're showing bioengineering for students that don't often see that. And so like doing programs like that, hosting events, utilizing the space. I think our goal is not to be a isolated kind of office, but it won't be because I'm always out. I'm already excited to walk to Defer and kind of meet folks around there. But to be a platform, especially so close to the city, so close to the universities, where we can do something a little different, but hopefully something that's exciting to the community. So happy to answer other questions. Otherwise, I'll let the professionals take it from here.
Great. Appreciate all three of you providing that excellent overview. Questions, comments of the board, Director Williamson.
So first off, love to see businesses moving from the suburbs into the city. So that's great. Thank you for that. I think I inferred that the answer to this question is yes from a couple of the comments, but I just wanted to confirm that the notes that we got say that the community was supportive when after you had exhausted the food-based options for redevelopment of looking for other potential uses of the space, but that the development team would return to the community again when such use was found. Did that meeting happen? It sounded like it might have, but I just wanted to confirm.
Yes, sorry, that meeting happened. That was at the August 2024 public board meeting. The way I worded it may have been confusing. When Wildman and Chalmers and QGE expanded their marketing search, they did attract serious interest from this developer. From BioInterface. So that is when we returned to the board meeting, to the public meeting, to introduce Noah and his concept. That was following a community meeting from earlier in the summer where Chad and his team presented to the community that they were having struggles attracting a food-based business. So, yeah.
And if I may, there's a letter of support from Troy Hill citizens in your packet.
Representative Powell.
Yeah. Unlike Sam, while he's excited moving from the suburbs to the city, we appreciate that you decided to stay in the beautiful 21st district. I'll say very briefly too, I know the community was really concerned about keeping the aesthetic of the building, and so appreciate that you have the experience and have highlighted that you'll be willing to restore the firehouse to its previous glory. So we're very excited. I think also to the note of trying to diversify that business corridor is really exciting to us. So thank you for the work that you've done with the Troy Hill Citizens community group, but also your investment in our beautiful Troy Hill.
Just, I guess if you could expand on the point about the historic nature of the building, one of the public comments was around sort of concerns related to that, aside from your experience, could you just speak a bit to the project itself, and how you're preserving those historic elements and even enhancing some of them in a little more detail? Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you.
So the building the exterior is coveted under the historic nature by both the state and the city. And our proposal is to actually remove the plywood panels to open the old transom windows and to repaint the windows. So in historic nature, best thing you can do is restore first and preserve what's there. So our intention is to restore and preserve what's there through the windows and to make sure the brick is pointed in great shape. And so really we're doing very little other than putting the glass windows back in. You'd see the arches right there are covered in paint. So we're actually going to be opening those back up and bringing it back to kind of the grandeur of what it was when it was started.
Great, thank you. I would echo the comments that Director Williamson made and Representative Powell, though I'd probably favor the city over the rest of the 21st district. But that aside, no, I appreciated everything that you shared in terms of not just what you all do in your business, it not by Gordon, but it had previously been described to me as high-tech stuff. So it was good to hear that a little bit more detail, and for the public's benefit as well as ours. But also, the way in which you and your team looks to interface with the community and find those opportunities to really show folks, what employment opportunities are, entrepreneurial opportunities are, and different career paths. So really thank you for, volunteering that to us, and, we'll be excited to see that in action. If there's no other questions or comments from board members.
One quick thing.
Oh, sorry, Director.
One quick thing. Thank you for your investment in the city, and between this project, 62nd Street, Action Housing's commercial, this agenda encapsulates the creation of 200 plus jobs. So that's a wonderful thing. Just wanted to note that.
Thank you, Director. If there's no other questions or comments, then we'll entertain a motion to approve. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Great. Motion carries. Thank you all. Congratulations. Yeah, we should have added hauntings. That's a good point. Next is our consent agenda. If there's no questions or comments from board members on the consent agenda, I will entertain a motion to approve in its entirety. We have a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Then that motion carries. And then we have one item for the public's benefit on our disclosure agenda. We don't need to vote on this. And with that, if there is nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you all.